Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirisho here and now. Before we do start, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of things have happened. We had Deku, and we also had Cindy. Now, they were dealing with quite a number of things. Deku has two more children, and he was trying to ask for advice. Figure out what to do. He wants to be involved, but he finds it strange to look at these children. They are part of him, and part of someone Deku wishes to never see again. Part of Adriana. Adriana got into his mind. She killed his mother, she made him kill Cain, and Ben died from this too, especially Anya. The only members left of the Spider family is him, Cindy, and Julia. There's Jessica, but Jessica, she's not really there. It's just those three, and now that he has all these emotions against Julia, he doesn't want to see her again, so it's just him and Cindy. And that's a bit difficult. Deku talked to Carol, and Shield, they dropped off things for these children. They dropped off things, or they dropped off wristbands to negate their powers. They dropped off supplies, and they've dropped off a lot of things. They want to make sure to mar these children and no presence of the enzyme is in their blood. They want to make sure that the world can stay safe and not have another Spider Island incident. Yeah. Got my freaking words twisted so much there. Now, Deku, obviously things are a bit difficult, and Carol was trying to urge Deku to talk to Julia, but he told her that he'll do that at his own pace. And then Cindy came back home, and she was a bit more surprised. She didn't know what to expect. She found children. She found innocent infants, and it just kind of messed with her head a little bit there. Now, some more time has passed, and it has almost been 2 years since Adriana has died. And Deku, he's definitely had a lot going through his mind since then. And he's actually stopped being Spider-Man for a second. Cindy, though, because of Deku's success, has thought about quitting her job. And, well, that would mean that she is either a stay-at-home mom, along with a superhero. She has thought about against it. She likes being out there. But if the only time she's out there is to be, well, Silk, it's kind of going to change a few things from her point of view. She has kept her job, but the two are able to rely on some friends of theirs. And that is very helpful. Kamala Khan is a pretty good babysitter, and the fact of the matter is, a lot has been happening, and taking her off of the battlefield is probably one of the safer options right now. Because the superheroes have to meet about something that's happened recently, and they're kind of a bit afraid. There was the fact that Reed Richards, he sent information over to Hank at the X Manor, and he never got back to them. And yes, that was concerning, but what was even more concerning is the fact that none of the X-Men have responded. They've tried reaching out to Genosha, and there has been a response back, but that was by Magneto directly. Magneto has said that he has not heard anything from them. They're not here on the island. They're not here trying to help rebuild it after what happened with the House of M. They're not here trying to do anything. In fact, last time he checked, Charles was in New York. And the X-Men? They've all vanished. And that's a bit alarming to the heroes. Mutants are gone. And no one really knows what to say. Reed Richards and Iron Man, they decided to gather the Earth's heroes. And they even talked to a lot of people. But there's a problem. Now that they're all here and trying to take a proper head count, They're realizing exactly how many people are missing, how many of the heroes are gone. I mean, She-Hulk has not responded to anything. Carol Danvers is out there probably in the stars somewhere, so until they get a response back from a transmission they sent to her, they don't know if she's okay. There's the fact that Moon Knight, Daredevil, and the Punisher are dead. I mean, someone is hunting them all down. And what they've done recently has shown what they're doing, shows what they've done. And Deku, him and Cindy, they do go to show up today. And that is the biggest thing. Deku Deku is quite alarmed by what he does find. However, he also is a lot more concerned. He tries to talk to the Earth's heroes, and many people they actually are somewhat surprised to see Iron Man and Spider-Man along with Reed Richards also went talking on an intellectually paired level. AKA, in the best terms of saying that, they're all kind of the smartest people in the room. And they're trying to go through how this all may have happened. I mean, invisibility tech, portal technology, I mean, how do you take down all of the X-Men without breaking a window, shattering a door, or a drop of blood being found? How do you just do that? It's impossible. But that's the problem. Trying to find all of this out is a big issue. I mean, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist, no one's heard from them. It's just the Avengers right now. Even Robert Reynolds is gone. And that is bad. I mean, they can try and call a few people in, but they might not even find anyone. And that's the main thing that does concern everyone. But there actually is Izuku. Izuku has a thought going through his mind, and he actually does somewhat good to tell Cindy about it. And Cindy was a bit alarmed. Deku's thought right now is that whoever is doing this may have found evidence of the superhuman registry. They may have a file of it. I mean, names, addresses, and aliases. Whoever is doing this, they're going through that list. People who are on that list and people who weren't. People who were well known and people who wanted their identities to be secretive. They were all there in one single place. And that's where Deku he brought that up. He told Cindy because he thought that Kamala Khan could have been in danger, along with even them. And no one knows the heroes are gathering right now, so where would be the simplest place to go to find a superhero who is trying to just live their life? You'd find them in their life, in their alias's shoes, not flying around the city. And Cindy immediately went right back home, and she started to do a few things. Deku made things quite clear. He wants her to go get out of town, and whenever she is going to do that, find a place and pay in cash. Go off the grid for a second. And Cindy was definitely making things quite clear. She'll do that, but at the same time, she wants updates. Keep her involved. And Deku, he promised that. But there actually was Julia. Julia was not found. And she was missing too. Deku even tried to call her, but there was nothing. He just didn't know. If she's dead, there's a lot of things he never said. There's a lot of things that he wanted to get off his chest. I mean, if she's gone, this is all bad. This is okay. Deku's not gonna turn, and walking out of the room. Him right now going to walk into a bathroom, and then gonna turn, whipping up the door as actually to bring his hands up, pulling the helmet off of his head, and then going to sit it down. Him gonna turn, and turn on the water. Him going to splash cold water on his face as Deku he does want to try to sit there for a second. Right now his ears start to ring, and things get quiet. He hears his own heartbeat, And Deku, he is trying to take calming breaths. He is trying to stay calm. However, he can feel like he's being suffocated. His spider sense is not reacting. There's no danger. But Deku, he feels like it's going off. He feels an alarm blaring in his mind, but there's no sound. He just feels panic. He feels anxiety. He feels all these things rushing through his mind, and it doesn't stop. And Deku, he does want to sit there for a few minutes before someone does come to walk up and they knock on the door. And Deku, he actually doesn't want to turn. Him going to bring out his spike and cut away the spider webs. I'm gonna pull open the door. Huh? What is it, door? Are you alright? No. I, I'm fine. I'm fine. Are you? You seem quite distressed. I'll be okay. I needed a second to calm down. Did you know? Yes. Yes, I did. Sorry. You, you've probably never seen a human panic like that before. I did not see much of what you've done. No. But I can interpret many things from it. You, you're not gonna call me a coward? Why would I call you a coward? I don't know. I felt like you would. You, you're big, you're tough, you're practically invulnerable. You're stronger than I am, and I don't know. You know how to deal with crazy shit. That's all your life is. Hmm. I consider that to be normal, yes. However, I have seen many warriors afraid on the battlefield, if that's what you were referring to. A little bit, but doesn't it state somewhere in mythology for you guys that warriors who run or are cowardly or don't die in battle, they don't go to Valhalla? Yes, it is somewhat like that, but I would have to look at the text you've read. Warriors who die in battle. They don't have to rush in screaming and charging with all glory. Some of those men are quiet. They know what they are about to do, but they know that what they do is for a reason, for a cause. Sometimes you need to understand there are sacrifices you can make, and other times there are not. However, are you alright? I. I am, yes. Now, we do get to somewhere else, where Cindy, she decided to go home, but somebody was waiting for her. Ochako sat there, her watching TV as she clicked through the channels. And Deku was left unaware as to the horror that was about to unfold, as Cindy has come walking through the door. And right now, Ochako goes to talk to her about what's happening, and Cindy tries to give her the rundown. She needs to get out of the city. She needs to leave New York because somebody might be trying to hunt them down. She has an idea in mind for where to go, but there's another idea she does have. It it sounds bad to her, but it would protect them all. And that's the problem. And Ochako was a bit confused. However, Cindy tried to get a few things ready. She tried to pack up the car. She tried to pack up the kids. I mean, take what she needed and leave behind what can just be bought or replaced or whatever for right now. The Avengers need to deal with a threat. And until that threat is dealt with, New York is not safe for them. Not safe for their family. And Ochako somewhat agreed, as she did go to somewhat shapeshift, turning back into Carnage. And right now Carnage does go somewhat smile, as Kirishima, he does try to express to her about exactly how right she might be, and she doesn't want to turn. Right now, her a bit more alarmed, as Cletus finally goes to pounce on her. He couldn't wait any longer. And right now, Cindy, she's gonna turn and go for the attack. Her trying to defend. And there actually is Deku. The moment things started to go wrong at his home, he got an alert. But the heroes, they also found out what was happening. They finally tracked things down. And there actually was where Deku, he was told by Cindy, and one simple message: Carnage. And Deku felt that ringing in his ear. She practically screamed the word as loud as she could. And Deku, he immediately turned and went to go leave. However, they brought their hand up and stopped him. And Deku, he actually turned. Him telling Captain America to get out of his way. Listen, soldier. You need to understand about what's going to happen. We need you out there. Are you sure she can't handle it? It's Carnage, Cap. He's after my family. Kid, if I... Mr. Richards going to actually bring his hand out. Him lunging it forwards and grabbing at Captain America. Him ripping him up into the air and out of the way. As Reed, he does get to announce to the heroes about what's happening. If Carnage was sent to attack his family, he's going to go secure his. He's sorry, but he can't allow them to be hurt. He's told this kid quite simply a lot of things, and he will not allow this to happen. He will not allow his family to be harmed, and Izuku, he needs to go fast. Deku turning to Reed and mouthing the words thank you to him before he's going to turn and run. Him putting his mask on and leaping out of the window. And right now, Deku, he heads back there as fast as possible, as fast as he can. And people, they do go see a red blur fly through the air. As we do actually have Cindy, who right now she's been pinned to a wall, and she was actually stabbed in the gut. And Carnage, he expressed to her about how happy this has made him. How happy he is to finally feel like he's at home. You know, the original host of My Father, he was quite distressed at the time. I wonder what's going through his head now. I wonder what I can do. Deku finally gonna land. Him smashing through his door as he's gonna scream out. And Carnage is gonna turn. And Deku does see Cindy. Right now, her throat pinned to the wall by what looks like to be a collar. Carnage's hand shapeshifted into it, and a spike driven through her torso. And Deku, he immediately feels the anger, the rage, and he rushes forwards with immense speed. Him screaming out at Carnage as he smashes his fist across his face. And Carnage is immediately sent flying. Him smashing out into the backyard. As Cindy, she actually doesn't fall forwards, and right now, she does a clutch at her stomach. Deku actually gonna bend down. As Deku, he actually gonna do so and bring up his right hand, telling him about what to do. Him going to shoot webs on both sides of her wounds. Him trying to tell her, get the kids and get out of here. Him gonna stand back up. And Cindy does actually want to look up towards Deku, as she does see that Deku, he's clutching his right hand into a fist, but his left hand, she goes to see Deku try to turn it, clench it into another fist. But she can tell. He broke it. And Carnage is right now laying out in the yard. Him actually going to sit back up as he feels his body shaking. That hurt. A lot. Ooh. He loved that. Right now, I'm going to stand. And Deku is going to step out, yelling at Carnage. He really thought that was a good idea, didn't he? And Carnage just goes on smile. He hit a nerve. He came home and he hit a nerve. Well, let's see how this goes. Him rushing forwards, and Deku is going to throw himself forwards. Him smashing Carnage with an uppercut. Now, Carnage was sent flying into the air, and Deku, he turned. Him looking back towards his home. Him going to step forwards, as he feels bad. There's a lot of things going on in there right now. And Deku, when he does hear his comm channel talk about how Cindy is clear, Deku does his turn. Him looking around. He smells something. But what is that? Gas. No. Him looking up at his home. When he doesn't hear it, slowly but steadily, the hissing, and then the explosion. Deku angry. He watches his childhood home go up in flames. And he knows that she got out. She must have gotten out. Him bring his hand up to his ear. Cindy, I'm here. We're okay. I got him. Are you okay? I need medical attention, but I'll be fine. I think I'll be fine now. I'm, I'm healing, but it hurts. Okay, I'll deal with Carnage. Just, he's right in front of me. Deku gonna turn. Him gonna run directly towards the street. And right now, Cindy, she is barreling backwards in reverse. And Deku does see Carnage. Him smashing into Carnage and going to turn. Him going to throw out spikes, smashing them into Carnage. As Carnage does actually turn and lash out at Deku. Deku moving backwards and telling Carnage, it's him he wants, right? And Carnage is going to stare directly at Deku. The idea of breaking Spider-Man, murdering Spider-Man, getting what he wants, a perfect host, bonding with what his father couldn't, being with what his father couldn't. Kirishima is a very nice host, but he could be better. He is deranged, and Carnage, it wants to surpass its father, maybe even kill its own spawn. Its own spawn has proven to be difficult, and if it does get Spider-Man, it could be a problem. So, he has to be careful. Bond with Spider-Man and become perfect. Become better than its own father. Surpass him in that right, and then make Spider-Man his. Make him complacent. Make sure he understands his place. He is nothing more than a tool in the belt. But his abilities, he can feel it, his anger, the two flying through the air. And right now, Deku, he's smashing down onto a car with Carnage. And the two, they actually are beginning their own battle. However, as that actually is happening, the Avengers, they are making their way towards the Empire Unlimited building. And Deku is trying to think about what to do. Right now, I'm going to grab at his belt and turn, chucking something that Carnage is just going to attach to him. And Carnage is hit by a sonic wave. Him is going to be out in pain as the host, it is right now exposed. Deku rushing forwards and going to actually grab onto Kirishima, stabbing two spikes in him and biting down onto his neck. Him trying to paralyze him. And Kirishima, right over he does going to throw out his hand, he slashes out Deku. Deku being slashed across his torso as he does a jump backwards. And right now he does going to look down at the claw marks. Him looking back up as Carnage does going to rush in. And Deku, he's a bit more annoyed. Carnage is a threat. Him smashing into him, and going back and forth, feeling the blows hit him across the face. And Deku tries to think. Carnage is a problem. Him saying I'm flying up into the air. Carnage got been killed. Carnage is the reason why Kane may have been injured. Why everything went so poorly. If Carnage was never involved, then things would have been better. Him smashing Carnage into the ground. And Carnage is going to send a kick upwards, sending Deku flying down the street. Him smashing into a car and getting up. Him picking it up and smashing it directly into Carnage. Him battering him again across the face. As the vehicle is being destroyed. And Deku does then going to throw it up into the air and then shoot two webs at Carnage. Him throwing him up in the air as Deku is then going to unattach the webs and bring his right hand up, pulling the vehicle down, smashing it down as it does explode on Carnage. And Deku, he does stand there for a second. Him thinking about what to do. Before, he actually does smell smoke. And he does this on listen, hearing sirens. Him turning his head and looking up to see a burning building. And that gives him an idea. Carnage messed with his family. And Carnage is insane. The moment he sets his eyes on a target, he knows he has to do. Okay. He made a choice, though, tonight. The Avengers are going against the threat. He can still meet up with them after this, but he doesn't know. This could be bad. Okay. I'm going to turn, yelling for Carnage as he'll go up to the building, and Carnage is going to chase after him. Him, right now, swinging after Deku as he go up high into the air. And Carnage thinks it knows what Deku's doing. He's running off to save people. He's running towards the danger. However, Deku, when he does get to the building, he does try to help. Him getting people out of it, as many of them, they're somewhat surprised to see Spider-Man. However, he's injured. And Deku does get everyone clear. However, Carnage just comes smashing into Deku, right now throwing him through a burning wall. As Deku, he actually is going to turn, smashing his fist out at Carnage, clogging him across the face, and actually going to slash at him with a spike. Him cutting off Carnage's arm, and surprising him. As Deku, he actually is then going to grab out towards it. Him ripping it towards a wall, and sticking it to it. Telling Kirishima, you know, he's always surprised. He thought that dealing with psychopaths would be easier. But then again, he went after his family. And he's going to tell him. Him bringing his hand down towards his belt. He really did make a mistake. Now, Carnage is going to go rushing forwards. And Deku, he actually is then going to throw down two different gadgets. As a sonic grenade is going to go off. As Carnage is going to scream out. And Deku, he does then go to turn. Him throwing out his hand and shooting a web. Him ripping Kirishima directly from Carnage. Him being sent flying forwards as Deku does then go to throw out his hand. Him smashing Kirishima up and grabbing him. Before going to turn and bury him into the ground as he is sent flying down by 2 stories. And Deku, he doesn't go to turn. Looking at Carnage. As the thing, it is trying to seek through the floorboards. It is trying to find any crack and crevice to get down. And Deku, he actually then going to throw up his hand, ripping down the burning ceiling. And crashing it down onto the symbiote. The symbiote, it does go to escape. However, it does start to take massive amounts of damage. And Deku, he actually has to turn backwards and leap down. Him right now fighting Kirishima, who he is trying to get back on his feet. Him clutching in his throat, trying to breathe. And Deku does actually go to turn, kicking him directly towards the wall. As Carnage does going to start covering him. And Deku does start to tell him about a lot of things. As Deku does throw out his hand and rip down the supports. Carnage being covered by the burning building. And right now Deku does try to tell him. He's done a lot of things to make him angry. Maybe in another life they could have been friends. In another life where he wasn't such a fucking psycho. But he's sorry. No, you can't do this. Do what? You can't kill me. That's not what Spider-Man would do. You don't know Spider-Man. I do. I know everything about you, Izuku. You have to let me live. Who says that? I do. I know you. You wouldn't do this. Deku turning and blasting on a web. Him pulling down another one of the support beams as there is the building to collapse more. And Carnage is beginning to get covered and burning rubble. And Deku, he actually does a turn. Him making sure that these building stories will come down on Carnage. And Carnage is slowly but steadily suffocated and destroyed. Him being caught up in 3 to 4 stories of a building collapsing on top of him. All of it on fire. And right now Carnage is trying to get out. But Deku, he made sure to leave something here for Carnage. And Carnage definitely did not like it. The sonic grenades, they go off. And they produce a loud, ear-piercing sound. And the symbiote is screaming out. It is angry. It is mad. And the flames dip at its skin. The flames rip apart the symbiote. And Kirishima, he is actually screaming out for Deku to help him. Screaming out to get out of here. He can't die here. Carnage can't die here. And Kirishima just screamed. And Deku, he walked away. He tried to swing to try and find the heroes, and he found them in Empire Unlimited. However, he showed up to find all of the heroes down and out for the count. And there actually was Regent. Deku, he saw the man. He stood in front of him, and Regent just turned his head and smiled, seeing Spider-Man. He is quite happy to see him here. So, what does he plan to do? Deku is staring at Regent, looking around at the ground. I'm going to look back up as the man teleported away. Hand right now appearing behind Deku, and Deku so I'm going to leap forwards and turn. The man trying to swipe his hand. And Deku, he does feel spirit sense ringing, repeatedly. It doesn't stop. And the man is trying to tell him. He's quite impressed. Telepathic dampeners in the helmet. He wouldn't have thought that of Spider-Man. Though, he wouldn't have thought a lot of things about him tonight. He heard that Spider-Man was quite busy. Though, he's quite happy to see him now. With the power of the Avengers and the power of the Hulk at his grasp, he is unstoppable. What will Spider-Man do to stop him? What can he do? And I get to start the man. Him going to make a pun. As Regent, he has a step forwards. And Deku, he actually is going to rush forwards towards Regent. He doesn't believe that this man is unstoppable. He doesn't believe that he's that way. He doesn't believe that Deku is going to actually dive down and evade a blow. Him going to actually try and throw out an uppercut. As the moment Deku is trying to uppercut this man in a power suit, the man throws out his other hand. Him smashing Deku directly in the stomach. And Deku, he actually is alarmed. Him being sent flying through the air. As Regent, he does get a teleport. Him turning his hand and grabbing out towards Deku's head. As Deku, he is grabbed by Regent. Him right now feeling his spirit sense go off in an immense amount of pain. He feels himself go just haywire. His powers are going into overdrive. And Deku, he is feeling the ringing, the constant migraine. And Regent is trying to tell Deku, holding him by his skull about exactly what's going to be happening, and putting down more and more pressure. Having the abilities of a spider would definitely be a good weapon in his arsenal. But then again, what does he have that he doesn't already have? No. He'll tell Spider-Man quite clearly. He's already gotten everything he needed. Him gonna let go of Spider-Man and bring up his other hand. Him going to pull Spider-Man up into the air. Him sending him flying backwards and flying back towards him. Backwards and towards him. And he actually isn't going to turn. Him going to throw Deku down into a building. Him with telekinesis flying him down into high speeds. And Deku, he goes up in the air about by 10,000 feet. Him then being let go of. And he does start to at least speed up more and more. And Deku, yeah. Right now he does a smash down into a building. And Regent does a watch in the distance. The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He is dead. Him watching the building collapse and beginning to crush Spider-Man. Quite poetic. Though, no great loss. Spider-Man's abilities are... Maybe he was a little too hasty on that one. Though, riding the high of defeating the Avengers, that just strokes his ego something good. The abilities of the Hulk, the powers of Iron Man. Though, Reed Richards' abilities, they could be useful to him here. But Ben Grimm and... No. He's got everyone he needs. Though any additional heroes, they could be good. Their abilities would definitely be unique. But then again, he already does have a lot. Yes. This will definitely need to be further researched. Though, Spider-Man. That will be the good way to show his control over the world. He's won. He's actually won. Reason someone gonna laugh. He did it. He did something that nobody else could. He took down the world's mightiest heroes. And there is no one left. No one in his way. Any heroes that could stand to him will fall. And many villains. They may try to resist him, but what can they do? He has the abilities of most of the heroes in the world, and no one can stand to him. No one can faze him. He has become a god. Now, Region is somewhat going to smile, but we do actually cut to Deku. Deku right now is going to lay in that broken and collapsed building. Right now, he does lay there, and he feels his body shaking. He feels his heart racing. And Deku, he actually has tried to bring up his hands. However, whenever he does find that his fingers, they're shaking. And the fact is, he can't get his hands to stop. However, he does start hearing a voice. It asking if Izuku's okay, and if he's gonna respond. But Deku, he doesn't say a word. He just lays there. He just lays there broken. And right now, Deku, he does get his thoughts start to fade. Things don't feel right. Nothing feels right. And his spider sense keeps going off. Deku just laying there. However, we do actually cut to Cindy. Cindy does get to sit there. And she's been trying to get into contact with Deku for almost an hour. But nothing has been happening. Nothing's been said. I mean, she heard about a battle that happened in New York. She heard about Spider-Man going up against Carnage and then another building just coming down. That was bad. But after that, there was nothing. He went to go try and deal with the guy at Empire Unlimited. But then there was nothing. And Cindy, she was afraid. She tried to call Ochako. She tried to call anyone, any of the Avengers, but nothing happened. But then she got a call from Jarvis. She finally got into contact with somebody who might have known what the fuck is going on. And Jarvis, he made things quite clear. From what he's been seeing from the Avengers comm channel and communications, it does appear that the Avengers have been defeated. And Spider-Man, his comms communications location shows where he's at. And Cindy asked for the location. Her right now driving to that location and finding the collapsed building. People are trying to figure out what happened. And Cindy, she does have a few ideas. Right now, though, there actually is Regent, who he is beginning his conquest of New York and making sure that people, they will bend the knee to him. And there actually is Cindy. Cindy does get into the building. She finds Deku laying there. And right now, Deku, he actually is trying to push a support beam off of his body. He's covered in over 100 tons of rubble. And he can't move. And there actually is Cindy. Cindy does actually run up. Her bending down and actually trying to grab onto the rubble. Her going to bring her hand up and try to push onto some. Her webbing the rubble and going to shoot up at where she can. Finding spots that might be able to be secure. Finding spots that are structurally stable so she can get this off of him. And Deku, whenever he finally does start to push the rubble up, he is able to push some of it off of him. Him actually going to turn and start to crawl out. However, Deku, he does just lay there. Him muttering and not doing a lot. However, Cindy does get a turn. Her bending down and grabbing onto Deku. And Deku just does lay there. Him shaking and rocking back and forth. Muttering something about not sure if he did it. And Cindy does get to grab onto him. her holding him to her chest, talking about it. Shh, it's okay, it's okay. It's happened. Zuko, it's Cindy. Calm down. Regent, I had him, had, had him. Izuku, shh, you're okay. Her bring her hand up, and finding a massive wound on his head, she thinks that he might have fractured his skull. Fucking hell. Okay, okay. Izuku, I'll get you. Crap. No hospital. Shield. Okay, this is bad. We're gonna pick him up and get him out of here. She tries to do a few things. However, she does head down the street and get Deku loaded up into the back of the car. Right now, Deku, he does lay there in the trunk. And Cindy is a bit more concerned. With what she does see going on above, things are bad. And right now, after she did have to change her clothes a bit, she's been able to blend in with civilians. But people are still looking for superheroes. People are going after them. And Cindy tries to get Deku taken to the nearest SHIELD facility to get medical attention. Because Regent almost killed Spider-Man. But Deku knows what he did after this. He knows the choice he's made. Regent could not be stopped. Regent almost killed him. The fact that he managed to escape being the bug under the boot, that just shook him. If he goes after that man again, he'd die. He knows that that's a guarantee. He was afraid. For the first time in his life, he was afraid of the bully again. And Deku? He found himself with a choice. SHIELD wanted him to try and go up against Regent again, but he flat out refused. No. No, no, no. He knows what he's going to do. He is going to quit. Regent has won. And SHIELD was annoyed. They want to try and convince Spider-Man. They can't force him to, but they try to convince him. And Deku laid there in his bed. Him with his body almost entirely broken. And Deku, he only thought of his daughter. That was all in his mind. That was the only thing on his mind. And we do actually have Cindy. She was asked to do something very clear. And right now she's going to open a trash can. Her going to hold the remains of the spider suit in her hands. Before she does, just let go of it and drop it inside. Spider-Man, he's made a choice. Saving the world. Or saving his family. He tried to do both. And he almost died. Tonight, he almost died. But Regent, he doesn't know Spider-Man's still alive. And Deku, he intends to keep it that way. As far as the world knows, this was the night that Spider-Man, he died. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.